Hey, what's up? It's me, Lex, back with another video, and I'm back with...
It's partner, like...
This is so true. Today, we're going to be going through our first reading of Mothership together. I bought a physical copy today, and I excitedly wanted to read through it by myself. And then I wanted to read through it with my partner. And then I realized, as we got through the first page, that it would be best to do this as a video, because we were talking like we were making a video. Mothership is, as it says here, you might not know, a sci-fi horror RPG. The reason in particular that I picked it up and that I'm interested in it is that I got recommended it by a friend of mine, Jelly. And it was recommended specifically for being really good GM advice for running horror and suspenseful type stuff, and that's like a skill set that I want to work on and develop, but also because it's like apparently very frightening and very fun, and it's a setting that I'm interested in, and I'm looking forward to running some games in, or at least one. The book or like the box that I purchased comes with a sample adventure as well as the survival guide, which is what we're going to read through today. This is like the base rules that everyone uses, and then it comes with a GM toolkit as well, a poster, a GM screen, and a monster manual, as well as some extra rules for like using a ship, like having a ship in like an ongoing campaign, which seems pretty crazy. Because I've heard some things that this game is very lethal.
The one thing, yeah, like you were talking about the physical, like, object that we have, it's very well condensed and very packed, it feels like. Like, it's a small package, all things considered.
Yeah, it's right over there. It's about the size of maybe, like, a hefty book, but not the dictionary.
Yeah, like, this looked like it should be a board game, but then you open it up and see just a really well laid out, condensed, like entire TTRPG book.
It's almost like made out of zines. It's several small books. For example, the player's guide here. Part of the reason that we're going through it is because it's only 44 pages for all the core rules of the game. Although, if I show you right here, the left leaf of the first page, because that's like the title here, and the left side after the cover is just stuffed with info. So it might be 44 pages also because it's pretty compact.
Yeah, that's a big compliment when all the pages are compact. Now, I
think there's something to be said for a page having too much and it being kind of hard to navigate.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, that it might have something like that, but just the first few pages we've gone through, I've already really liked the design of it. But speaking of, we should actually get a little bit into it.
Yeah, all right. So yeah, the first page, I kind of skimmed over because it's just some reference tables. I assume it's at the front because these are things you're going to want to look at pretty often or use pretty often, but none of this means anything to me right now. Then it has this nice art and a content warning right away. So this is a content warning for viewers too. If you're not up for violence, foul language, sexual content, drug use, and depictions of mental illness, trauma, stress, and panic, get out of here. Sorry.
Or hear me out, keep the video muted and go to a different tab. That way we still get a view. Easy.
Okay.
I mean, I do that all the time.
Like, comment, and subscribe. All right. Let's get into this. So it starts off with how to make your character. And this is where we read this page and then we were like, okay, we should make a video instead. Because we got caught up here about cross-referencing. And it looks like, oh my god, it's hyperlinked.
It's linked? Oh, that's so
good. That
is
beautiful. But we were talking about specifically having sections of text talk about, like, not too much, don't overload on info or dump things that you'll need other context for, and then just link other things that you need. But let's start actually reading.
Yeah.
Welcome
and then
to
I'll
Mothership.
go over the thing I was ranting on for like a solid 15 minutes about.
It was like 2 minutes. Welcome to Mothership, the sci-fi horror RPG where you and your crew try to survive in the most inhospitable environment in the universe, outer space. Excavate dangerous, derelict spacecraft, explore strange, unknown worlds, encounter hostile alien life, and escape the horrors encroaching upon your every move. Let's get started.
The battery is low. Please
all right.
Charge in time.
That is my speaker telling me that it needs to be plugged in.
Hi, speaker.
There we go. That should be better. Oh, where was I?
We had a second co-host, I guess.
Yeah, third host. Excavate dangerous, derelict spacecraft, explore strange, unknown worlds, encounter hostile alien life, and escape the horrors encroaching upon your every move. Let's get started. The sheet at the back of this book has all the instructions for how to create your character. All you need to do is follow the numbered steps in each box until you've filled everything in. Step 1, roll your stats. There are 4 stats: strength, speed, intellect, and combat. They represent how well you act under extreme pressure. You determine them by rolling 2 10-sided dice. This is a 2d10 system. It's used as either 2d10 or a d100. And add them together, then add 25 and record the results for each stat. So your stats will be anywhere from 27 to 45. 36 is average, but don't get too hung up on the numbers right now. And this was where we had our little talk about like linking being great.
Yeah, so specifically for me, the big thing that I have a lot in like mostly physical books over stuff that we have right here in front of us is that whenever I have the character sheet out, I go, okay, where do I find information about this specific part of it? So having it just shown on the full sheet spread that most books usually have is very nice as like another table of contents where certain objects matter. And to have it laid out is really nice. Like a proper documentation.
Yeah, and to sort of rephrase what you said there a bit because it was a little awkward.
I love being awkward. You're always my translator, to be honest.
Yeah. Having a reference document is great, where it's like an example of a character sheet and it tells you where to go for every bit of it. So if you're ever confused, because I don't know, if you've played a lot of tabletop games, you have perhaps printed out a character sheet, gone through the book, filled out everything, and then you're sat staring at this one section. It's like, should there be something there? And you dig through it again, you can't find anything, you're just like, whatever. No, that's happened to me, I know.
Yeah.
It's a lot less prevalent with some of the tighter modern games, and especially with like digital tracking.
Yeah. But
in character sheets, but alrighty. Step 2, you'll roll your saves. Characters have 3 saves: sanity, fear, and body, representing how resistant and reactive they are to different kinds of trauma and danger. Mm-hmm. You'll roll 2 10-sided dice, add them together, and then add 10 instead of 25 and record the results. So they're up there. And as you can see on the little sheet here, I tried to find a spreads version of this PDF, but we make do with singles. But as you can see here, it tells you exactly what to do with the numbers beneath it on this example, which is pretty nice. I find it interesting that you get 25 for your stats and 10 for your saves. That makes me think that saves are going to be very punishing.
Yeah.
Or like intentionally be part of like maybe where, because it's a horror game, I would assume there's resource depletion and stuff like that. And so saves might be important.
Yeah, I'm wondering if there is like a lot of additional ways to get bonuses, because I think, looking at this, a 35% chance to succeed on any strength stuff seems a bit rough. But I assume there's probably more modifications.
Well, there are skills on the second.
Yeah, and I assume that's like the base stuff. So I'm like, okay, I want to see how it adds to it. Because I played a few D100 systems, and how they play with the stats and skills is always something I'm most interested in with those.
Interesting.
I like D100 systems, even though I know it's not a particular like for you.
I played a fair bit of Call of Cthulhu, and I don't know if the system itself is bad or if the DM I had just had some particularly uninteresting scenarios we were playing, but I was not drawn in by the D100 system in Call of Cthulhu. It felt very bland and frustrating to me at the time.
I definitely think that should be something we try to test more, because I enjoy D100 systems a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
But Yeah. But let's continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Step 3, you'll choose your class. There are 4 basic classes. Marines are handy in a fight, but if they panic, it can cause problems for the rest of the crew. So you're like the guy with the gun, but then you start shooting everybody. Androids are a terrifying and exciting addition to any crew. They tend to unnerve other crew members with their cold inhumanity. So, me when I wake up in the morning. Scientists are doctors, researchers, or anyone who wants to slice open creatures or infected crew members with a scalpel. And Teamsters are rough and tumble blue-collar space workers, mechanics, engineers, miners, and pilots. I love that this entire genre is just Alien.
I've never watched Alien, actually.
We gotta watch that. It's
add it to the watch list.
It's pretty alright. Alright. Classes broadly define character backgrounds. For example, scientists know basic info about most scientific disciplines. We'll get into specialties in step 7.
Okay.
Mark your class, then alter your stats and saves accordingly. Okay, so it's got it in here. I'll zoom in.
Yeah.
So this person's a Teamster, which gives them industrial equipment, 0G, a trained skill, and an expert skill. Okay. I don't know what that is yet.
Ooh,
Alter your stats and save.
I like the look of the skills so far, but I think I'm reading a little ahead.
Yeah, we'll look at it in a minute. Step 4, you roll your health. You can suffer a certain number of wounds before you die. Each class has different starting max wounds, and you gain a wound when your health reaches 0. So it's one of those where you have health, you take damage, and when it hits 0, you get a wound.
Oh, Lancer style, even though it was not invented in Lancer.
No, this is giving Lancer vibes to me. You know, this sounds a lot like ska. This is giving ska vibes.
You settle down.
Says person who's only ever listened to ska. Roll a d10, then add 10. That's your max health. Okay.
That is.
Does it say how many? It doesn't seem to say how many wounds your class has over there.
I do wonder. I don't know if rolling.
Oh, here's the stats and saves. Okay, so a Teamster gets +5 to all stats and a +10 to all saves. That's nice.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the health. Teamster has. I don't know where to find the wounds here. Oh, maximum starts at 2, and then they probably have like gain a wound over here or something.
Probably somewhere.
I don't know.
But the one thing that is interesting to me HP wise is just rolling for it. I don't know, maybe I'm just used to not having to roll for HP in a lot of systems and feeling like that's a lot better than rolled HP. But then again, I think it might fit specifically for what this book is trying to aim for.
I get the impression from what I've been told and like what I've read so far that this game is very much trying. It's not trying to be like a super fair tactical game thing. It's meant to emulate Alien. You're a scientist. Don't die. Good luck.
Yeah.
And so having a roll for the health with a minimum of 11 as well. Like they have a floor is gonna be like it'll inform how you play your character. Maybe you're a weaker Marine, so you're kind of a coward, or you're a healthier scientist, so you're kind of like super.
You're a geologist, you know. Have you seen how ripped geologists are?
Some of them.
I mean, they go collect rocks to live.
I had a geologist friend once, and she scooped up a handful of dirt and then just started chewing it.
I would not doubt that. I was about to make the same joke.
I'm lying.
Oh my gosh.
Step 5, your current stress and minimum stress both start at 2. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I think from what I understand, stress is like a second health bar. Mm-hmm. Note your trauma response. Each class deals with stress and panic differently, which comes into play later in the game. Mark your trauma response for future reference. Those are up here, so... For example, a Marine, whenever you panic, every close friendly player needs to make a fear save. 7, choose your skills. Each class comes preloaded with relevant skills. So, for example, Teamster having industrial equipment in 0G, or Marine having military training in athletics. which help you perform better at different challenges, and you have a number of bonus skills to select. To choose a skill, you must have at least one prerequisite skill, which is a skill with an arrow pointing from it first. So, zoom in here. To have ecology, you need to have either botany or geology. And then get psychology, you need linguistics. Or I'm trying to find something. Mysticism can pick up from art, archaeology, or theology. This is quite a few skills.
I enjoy that further skills need like a prerequisite skill. I enjoy that idea. I don't know how it's going to go execution-wise, but the idea is enticing to me, personally.
I'm thinking very specifically, I hate when skills are bloated and it makes it so that it's like hard to tell which skill should apply to something, or there's like a bunch of skills that apply to something. But from what I'm looking at here, with the way this chart is laid out, I actually really like it, because it makes, like, the way that these go, computers, hacking, artificial intelligence, these are getting both more specialized and stronger. And so, for example, like, if you are in a HAL 9000 scenario and you're locked in by an AI and you need to get out, if you're trained, you only get a plus 10. If you're expert, you get a plus 15. And if you're a master, you get a plus 20. In the same scenario, these skills are applying, but it's kind of like they're different things.
Yeah.
It's just that these are broader. Like, chemistry would cover explosives and pharmacology, so it makes sense that they're both more niche variations of it. So I like that, because it's not creating skill bloat, because these skills farther down seem to not cover more than the earlier ones would. These are very base and do a lot.
But, like, if you try to hit something specifically, I want to know about the explosives, you could do a chemistry thing. But if you do explosive, most likely, and I don't know how the system expects you to do it, but I would expect a lower DC if you're rolling a skill that more specific.
Well, I think lower DC is represented by you rolling with a higher bonus.
But, like, like Pathfinder, I would expect, if you roll a lower skill, it would have a lower DC. I'm wondering if that is kind of thought of, or is it just planned to have a base DC and the bonus that you get from an expert skill applies?
Sure. I kind of lost you lost me there. I think you said the same thing multiple times.
Probably. That's what I normally do.
Step 8 here, you'll roll your loadout, trinket, and patch. That's on page 7, not here. But this person got a vac suit, laser cutter, patch kit, an extra battery, a patch that says Mama Tried, and a spiked bracelet, as well as 40 credits.
I like getting a patch. That's very cute.
Yeah. You get your starting credits. And then you finish up by adding a name and pronouns and put a 0 above high score. This is something I read, was that high score is like how long you've survived. And so one of the goals is to see how many sessions someone can make it, because it's very lethal. Which is why character creation is so easy as well.
It's also laid out in the actual character sheet, which is cool.
Yeah. Credits are the primary currency. 100 CR is credits, KCR is 1,000 credits, MCR is million credits, and BCR is billion credits. Makes sense to me. If you want to forego a starting loadout and buy gear piecemeal, you get 100 credits on the 2d10 roll instead of the supplementary 10 times 2d10.
That's cool.
I am also going to be looking at this art as we go through, because they got some cool stuff.
It's very pretty.
Loadouts. Loadouts contain the weapons, armor, and other gear characters start with. Roll 1d10 on the appropriate table to determine your starting loadout, and then record that on your character sheet. Some are better than others, but all of them are useful in the hands of a desperate person. Underlined items are not described in the equipment section. Use common sense to determine their use. This is amazing. I love this because so many fucking games that I have read will just like not explain what items do, or they'll have like a short little description or something like that. I love specifically that they make this very easy here. If it's underlined, something that's just there, it's not an asterisk that might be easy to miss. It's not like it isn't there. If it's underlined, you can get an idea.
It also helps save page space. Like, I don't need to know what a rope is for like the tense TTRPG thing, but they have to put it down somewhere.
Like, this person has a satchel, this person has a defibrillator. I could definitely see a defibrillator being like overpowered in one GM and bad on another GM, where it's like, oh, I've seen a lot of television, this brings people back to life, right? Versus like, oh, this like won't work. But screwdriver, like, you know what a screwdriver does. I like that. That's good. Alrighty. And that's fun. I like that it's 10 loadouts as well, so you can kind of like explore it. Mm-hmm. Moving on to trinkets. My trinkets. These are kind of, I think, meant to give you like a kickstart on your character.
Like, why does your character have a trucker hat, you know?
Yeah, or a Ushanka, or menthol balm. My lips is always chapped. And then patches. You get a patch sewn on your clothing or gear. It can have significant meaning or not.
Good boy.
Fuck off in Russian. Good boy.
Good boy.
Yeah, I like that.
Keep well lubricated.
Oh, God.
I can't fix stupid.
How do you keep finding the like sexual ones?
What do you mean? Look, okay.
Equipment. A non-comprehensive list of the kinds of gear and tools available to characters at the start of the game. Assorted tools. Automed, battery, crowbar, body camera.
Yay, body camera.
Oh, so other people can see what you're seeing. That makes sense. And you can give it night vision or thermal vision. I like that they fold it in like this, where it's super easy.
Oh, I like that.
Although I would wonder whether the or means you can only get one or the other, or if it means... I think they would probably use and if it was both. So I think this is exclusive. Either night vision or thermal vision. It's still very cool. Heads-up display, which lets you see through body cams without needing to be at a computer. And you can link to smart link weapons, whatever that means. Mm-hmm. This is cool. I like this. It's nice and simple. I believe this game is narrative focused, just to be clear.
I mean, we'll see how nice a narrative-focused game is soon, but I look forward to it.
People play it successfully all the time, so we have to learn it, I think, is the big thing. Pets.
Pets?
You can get an organic pet or a synthetic pet.
Oh, let's go Robo
Panic
Dog.
check if pet is killed.
I like how the no panic check is your pet synthetic. Oh, my robot dog, I'll just I'll order another one online, you know?
Yeah, I like this though. I like that you can have a pet and it makes you like less, it gives you a higher stress minimum.
Yeah.
But then like if it takes damage or dies, it'll mess you up. Carrying capacity. Use common sense to determine what you can reasonably carry. People can carry about a quarter of their body weight. Marines can carry between 90 and 160 pounds in combat. Depending on the setting, androids can carry 1 to 5 times. When in doubt, characters can carry one light thing in each hand or one heavy thing with both hands. Fair enough, you know? I think
I enjoy that there seems to be a specification on setting, which is actually kind of cool. Yeah,
this is meant to be setting agnostic. It's just that it's like the space horror is the thing it's doing.
Yeah, which is very interesting for me that it like goes. The GM can be like a little loosey goosey on what they would want out of the expectation.
I've enjoyed a lot of games that do something similar to this, where it's like carrying capacity is common sense. Yeah. I think it works very well for a fair few genres, and in particular when like the characters are meant to be people and not level 17 barbarians with a +6 in strength. It helps when your characters aren't superhuman to kind of understand what they should be able to get away with. Here's some firearms.
Ooh, pretty. This is reminding me a lot of older school like TTRPG books with how the like specifically how
everything's baked into an aesthetic.
Yeah, like that's one thing I really enjoy about like a system called Heavy Gear, was that it had a lot of stuff that looked like this, where it really baked in, very crunchy, just looking at it, and this is very like appealing to my eye.
Alright, these have range, damage, some parentheticals like anti-armor, shots, which is probably between reloads, wounds, special. I don't know what any of this is.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll find out soon. But like, oh, these gun designs are amazing. I love sci-fi gun designs.
And they got armor, air filter, oxygen supply, radiation shielding. The full suits. 10 armor points. Yada yada.
This is very nice.
Very pretty. I feel like this should be getting introduced after the rules that explain how these work, but that's fine, I guess. How to be a great player. Oh, I love when there are these. Players should understand that just like the GM, being a player is a skill that you have to cultivate and you have to practice and you have to perform at the table. It is on you as much as it is the GM to engage in that back and forth and create a fun game and an enjoyable story.
Almost everything in life is a performance, and sometimes you're just a bit of a clown.
Yeah. How to be a great player. Mothership can be a very challenging game. You should expect characters to die. Play smart. Make the most of your time. Violence to be punishing. If you're fighting, you're losing. Violence is deadly and should be avoided at all costs. This is one of the OSR-isms where it's like, they don't literally mean you're losing if you're in combat. They mean like, your goal should be to avoid combat or set up combat so that it's super stacked in your favor. Like if you can create a gigantic wall and shoot through it at an alien, you should do that instead of just like walking up and shooting. If you just walk up and shoot like you're in a fantasy game, you're gonna get obliterated. And that has given me a very interesting idea actually that I might try and explore, which would be a high fantasy game but with horror game mechanics, where it's like, oh yeah, that goblin, it's gonna kill you.
I mean, that's OSR. I mean, I like to think of it as like, if you go into a fight with equal odds, there's an equal chance you win or lose. Instead of, if you go in at an equal like playing field.
Combat is war instead of combat is sport is the design term. But yeah.
Well, you know the terms and I don't. I just yap.
As opposed to Pathfinder, where the highest recommended difficulty is like maybe one person will die.
Yeah.
In this, the average combat is maybe all of you will die.
Yeah.
And that's something to keep in mind and then play around, because that's something you can remember is these gigantic, what are you going to do against this guy? Nothing, right? Yeah. Look at you. In its arm there.
Yeah, you need to set up for combat, which is very interesting, and it does tie into the horror of it, that you have to like set up for combat, which, you know, is horrifying. You end up rolling initiative straight into combat. I need to get the fuck out of here.
And it's also like, you know, maybe you stack up a bunch of stuff in a hallway to prevent the alien from getting you. You're like gonna shoot them as they come through. And then they come through the vent behind you. Oh no!
Run away!
The odds to be stacked against you. Rolls are punishing in Mothership. Find ways to stack the odds in your favor. This is another OSR-ism. It's there described as like, solve things without a roll if you can.
Mm-hmm.
If you can find a solution to something that would work, it will work. If you find a solution to something that has a chance of failing, it probably will, because you're playing a horror game. To make difficult choices, surviving the ordeal, solving the mystery, or saving the day are often mutually exclusive. This is something I think that's in the GM advice, where it's like, force players to make a choice, and that makes an interesting story. To pay attention, stay focused, and plug into the fictional world. It helps you and everyone else get into the spirit of the game and have a more immersive experience. If you talk out of character once, I will slaughter you.
You'll kill my character, right?
No. You're becoming the new coffee table.
No.
A safe play environment. This is a horror game and it can deal with many uncomfortable topics. It's your responsibility to make sure you're not making anyone at the table uncomfortable with your words and actions, both in and out of character, and to speak up if you feel uncomfortable or you notice anyone else might be. That's good. That's a good way of handling it. You know, they had the content warning up front, and then a little thing, advocate for yourself, advocate for others, and listen when people talk. That's it's good. That's all you need.
Because sometimes you don't realize, you're like, I'll be fine. And then it goes, okay, well, not as fine. And then you can speak up, and you should speak up about it when it happens.
Yeah. Mothership is a tabletop role-playing game.
Whoa.
You and your friends get together, and one of you, the warden, prepares a scenario for the rest of you to explore and interact with. You all are my prisoners.
I do like the GM nickname.
Yeah,
every system needs the GM nickname nowadays, and Warden goes pretty hard.
You ask questions, roll some dice, make some jokes, and die a few times. The rules are simple, but the game is challenging. You can attempt anything you want. You're not limited by what's on your character sheet. Most things you want to do just happen. That's classic TTRPG. That's what opened my young mind when I when I opened up one of these books as a kid.
Yeah.
You should ask a lot of questions. The more information you have, the less likely you'll be to make risky rolls like stat checks and saves. This is kind of symbiotic as well. Mm-hmm. The more questions players ask, the more prompts the GM has to flesh out a scene, which then immerses everybody and gives you the advantage. So, like, an example of this is, as a player, you should be trying to make up things and ask if they're there. No, don't, like, overwhelm your GM with, like, is there this? Is there this? Is there this? But if you're, say, like, in a hallway and you have a tripwire that you want to set up, ask the GM, like, oh, are there vents on, like, the sides here for, like cooling the station or getting cooling around? And then they might be like, oh, yeah, and then you can tie it there. Like, stuff like that. It builds the scene out collaboratively instead of the GM having to describe everything to you. And this is something that a lot of non-narrative games really lack in because people will overly focus on the mechanics and, like, just making their way through. This is something we see in Adventure Pass all the time, is people don't ask questions about anything. They just kind of look at the battle map and they go. And that's fair. You know, it's what the game is kind of pushing you to do.
I mean, like,
what were you saying?
That's the benefit of having a theater of the mind thing, is that the expectations is you ask questions and it helps build the scene in both your head and the GM's head.
It doesn't have to be theater of the mind, though.
I know, but it helps build in the GM's head too, because when I GM, I don't innately think of the scene in my head.
Exactly.
I usually build onto it based off what makes sense at the time.
That's why it's telling the players here to ask questions, is so that the GM can have that prompt, because most GMs don't think of things like that. Stat checks are made when you want to do something and the price for failure is high. Makes sense to me. Saves are reactions rolled to avoid different mental, emotional, and physical dangers. Sounds good. When you fail a stat check or a save, your character gains 1 or more stress. Stress can be bad, as it makes characters more likely to panic, but it is also needed to improve saves. Okay. So I assume that means that, like, as you get more stressed, you also become better at responding to things, which makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like, you gotta go through hard times to know how to deal with it.
Panic checks are rolled when the worst has happened and your character snaps. A bad result can lead to a long-term condition that needs treatment, but a good result can provide focus when it's needed the most. Oh my god, it's Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that, honestly. I think that could be cool. When characters get hurt, they lose health. If they lose enough health, they suffer a wound. If they gain wounds equal to their maximum, they die. Crazy. With these basics in mind, you're ready to handle 90% of the situations that come up in a game. For everything else, you, the warden, and the other players will discuss the situation and come up with a house rule to suit the table's specific needs. I really hope the rest of this document is maybe provides a little bit more than that. But, you know.
Yeah.
I think they're being a little hyperbolic here. With that being said, you can close this book and start playing right now. I don't think you can right here. Sorry.
Maybe.
There's even a handy cheat sheet on the back cover if you forget something. If you like a little more information about how it all works, read on. I'm gonna, yeah. Dice notation. Yeah. This is the one thing I did not know, though. Plus next to a roll gives advantage, minus has disadvantage.
Want to know what advantage and disadvantage is, because I've been experiencing a lot of systems where that means a lot of different things.
Yeah. Player supplies checklist. Bring snacks to share. Yeah. Players, do that, please.
Please.
A character sheet and a spare is handy in case your character dies. I think that's good to have there. I think this is my hot take. For like literally any system that you play, I think you should play as a troop game where you have one or two backup characters. I like playing Pathfinder and switching out my characters like between in middle of session or between sessions, whenever, with my backups. And I like having those backups, and I think it's extremely healthy to the narrative of a story to have like a big party that just like, you know, sort of splits up or maybe keeps in contact, because then also it's healthy for the game. If you die mid-session, you can have your backup come in naturally within a little bit, instead of everyone having to be like, oh, hold up, wait, you have to make a character and then we have to figure out a way to force this rando into the party before next week.
God.
And so the session's canceled for today, guys. Or the fourth person just has to sit there and like do nothing.
Yeah.
It's a mess. I think that everyone should have at least 1 to 2 backup characters in like basically every system I've ever played. Mm-hmm. And you should have those characters be part of the story as it's going along so that they can naturally be caught up with things and like kept there.
Nothing sucks more for me. Like, I experienced this a little bit in the last campaign I ran, where I killed a player because, mostly bad luck.
Killed like 4 players.
Okay, to be fair, not all my fault.
That's for sure.
But it sucks whenever it's like halfway through a session or right at the beginning, and it's like this person doesn't have a backup character, and I don't want to leave them not doing anything. I guess this is end of session, or I come up with some way to basically have the same character again, but with an interesting story beat instead, to like help it still keep going.
Yeah, and like that can be fun sometimes, but it's also like just for the health of a game, which if you want to be a good player, you should care about the health of the game. You should care about the pacing and everyone's time and the GM's input and everything. You should be able to sub in quickly with a backup character. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And then you can work out what you want with the other one later. Also, if you want something different than just they die.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting a little off topic here. It is relevant, though. Stat checks. Whenever you want to do something and the price for failure is high, roll a d100 and attempt to roll lower than your most relevant stat. This is called a stat check. If you roll less than your stat, you succeed. Otherwise, you fail and gain a stress. A roll of 90 to 99 is always a failure. So you can't get your stat that high, I guess, or even if you do, it's a failure.
Okay.
The main stats are strength, speed, intellect, combat. It looks like strength, speed, and intellect are specifically like the non-combat uses of those things, or perhaps like certain ways of handling things during combat.
Yeah.
Saves. In order to avoid certain dangers or trauma, you sometimes need to roll 1d100 lower than your most relevant save. This is called a save. If you roll less, you succeed. Otherwise, you fail and gain a stress. 999 is always a failure. Sanity, fear, and body. Sanity is rationalizing logical inconsistencies, making sense out of chaos, detecting illusions and mimicry, and coping with stress. So anything that's like unreal. Fear then is just things that are crazy or scary. And body is anything that is physical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Organisms that might try and invade your insides. Ugh.
You know.
What is your high score? It's a record of the number of sessions your character has survived. It doesn't affect gameplay at all. It's just a fun number. Your warden may have other ideas on how to use it in game, like as a reputation stat or a spendable luck resource. Don't stress about your high score too much. The average high score of a character is about 4. Just focus on staying alive and you'll beat that in no time.
Honestly, that's not... Like, I expected it to be lethal, but I wasn't expecting it to not be that lethal. Like, surviving 4 sessions on average for a character is pretty decent.
And probably as well because they're talking about longer sessions, because we have our sessions pretty short. That would probably translate to like 5 or 6 of ours.
Yeah, which is pretty good, honestly. Like, you know, I was expecting a character death every session for people. Like that, the average is 1 to 2 and not 5 to 6, translated to us.
Modifying stat checks and saves. There are 3 things that can modify the outcome of a stat check or save: advantage and disadvantage, critical successes and failures, and skills. Advantage and disadvantage. Whenever you're making a roll of any kind, stat check, save, panic check, damage, etc., and the character has a situational advantage, like assistance from someone else, roll twice and take best. Okay. Well, situational disadvantage is roll twice and take worst, noted with a plus or minus, and they cancel out. Coolio.
I wish they had a different advantage and disadvantage, personally, but we'll see. I've never been a big fan of roll twice, take higher or lower.
Roll twice, take higher or lower is incredibly powerful, whichever way it goes. It's either really strong if it's advantage or really bad if it's disadvantage. Yeah. I would want to see like how prevalent it is, and I would definitely want to play with it, because I do think that like there's something to be said for in a system that's trying to be horror, and like is trying to punish, you know, if you get into a situation where you have to roll in the first place, rolling with disadvantage should then be incredibly punishing. So I would want to see how it feels in game, because I think it's one of those things where like this is intentionally a roll twice keep, instead of a lot of games where it's more just like, oh well, D&D did it or Pathfinder did it, so we're gonna do it.
Yeah, because it's just the easiest way for people to do a modification to a dice roll. It's just advantage or disadvantage, when truthfully I think my favorite type is just additional dice to modify. My favorite is additional dice that you add or subtract, but like I said, I want to see how this plays out before I judge it, because I think it supports the genre it's going for. Critical successes and failures. When you roll doubles on a stat check or save, you crit. If it's a success, it's now a critical success and something very good happens. If it's a failure, it's now a critical failure and something bad happens, and you must make a panic check. Double 0 is always a critical success. 99 is always a critical failure. Okay. Skills. If you have a skill that is relevant to the task at hand, you can add the skill's bonus to the stat or save before making your roll, giving you a higher number to roll under. Nice. Okay. Have they said what a panic check is yet? I don't think they have. No, I don't think so.
And they have a little sidebar with an example. Okay, so you hear that screeching sound coming from down the corridor. What do you do?
Can I open the airlock door quietly and try and sneak out before it notices me?
It's jammed up pretty bad right now. You'll need to make a strength check. Failure risks making a lot of noise and drawing the creature's attention.
I got the industrial equipment skill and the crowbar. Does that help?
Definitely. You can add your skill's bonus, and the crowbar will give you advantage on your roll.
Okay, I'm going for it. I got 35 strength plus 10 for industrial equipment. So anything under 45, right?
That's right.
Alright, 66 and 43. Phew, just made it.
Alrighty, so with that example there, that's kind of like I think a good example here of like, because it's meant to be swingy,
yeah,
you kind of employ advantage and disadvantage at key moments here. This is like super scary, but this is something that makes sense for the character to succeed at for like the tempo. So the GM tossed on advantage. But if it was like maybe at a different point, like say maybe the ship is on fire and like it's super smoky, this would be the point in a movie where the alien would catch someone and eat them.
Yeah.
So then maybe it's like, oh, the smoke is in your eyes, you're sweating, it's hard to get a hold of it, disadvantage. And then it would be, and then they would have rolled the 66, and that's a critical failure. And then that they probably would have gotten eaten or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great example right there. That's kind of outlining like how advantage and disadvantage. Specifically, you have. I think I chose a good framing there where it's like in a narrative system that is trying to emulate horror movies, advantage and disadvantage being so strong is really good for sculpting the story as the GM, being like, you shouldn't die here, so you get advantage, or you should die here, so you get disadvantage. And then if you still make it out, it's like, holy shit, and you're like sweating, and you're super stressed out, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, it enhances the narrative, but not in a good way. Both like, you know, character dying, character succeeding. Like in this instance, if like we're watching a movie and a character suddenly finds a crowbar to open it up, yeah, the character should open it up. That makes sense, you know. Like that makes sense for the story that, you know, that they can easily manage it.
Well, it's because they're trained and they already have it.
Yeah.
Okay. Stress. The unknown horrors of the cosmos and the vast emptiness of space take a toll on a person. Not me, I'm built different. Stress is a measure of that toll and how it subtly affects you, bringing you closer to the brink of panic. While stress by itself doesn't do anything, the higher your stress is, the more likely you are to panic, and the more stress you have when you panic, the worse your panic is likely to be. This guy is not having a good time.
Not at all.
How do I gain stress? You gain a stress every time you fail a stat check or save. Occasionally, certain locations or entities can automatically give you stress from interacting with or witnessing them. Your minimum stress starts at 2, and based on events that happen in games, such as a certain panic check results, it can be increased or decreased. The maximum stress you can have is 20. Any stress over 20 instead reduces the most relevant stat or save by that amount. Okay, so if you're at 20 stress and you fail a strength thing, then strength goes down. How do I relieve stress? You can relieve it by resting in a relatively safe place. To do this, make a rest save using your worst save. If you succeed, reduce your stress by the ones digit rolled. So if you rolled 24 under your worst save of 30, reduce your stress by 4. Sorry, I need to reread that. Make a rest save by rest in a relatively safe place, and then roll your worst save. If you succeed, lower your stress by the ones digit. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Players can gain advantage on their rest save by participating in consensual sex, recreational drug use, a night of heavy drinking, prayer, or any other suitable leisure activity. Hey GM, I'm gonna spend the rest of the session describing my sex scene.
Hey GM,
do you mind if we take it to the bed? Actually, do we get a hero point for that?
Hey GM, if we like roleplay this out, can I get like advantage on this, please? Thank you.
So real. Yeah, whip it out for advantage on the rest save. Okay. Unsafe locations may incur disadvantage at the warden's discretion. Stress is typically not relieved during cryosleep. And finally, if you have more time, you can take shore leave and convert stress into improved saves. Sex. Get everyone at the tables consent before dealing with sex in your game. Yeah, you know, fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh man, we are peaking the mic so bad laughing at this. This is great. I feel like I am 8 years old. I'm laughing at sex in a tabletop game.
It's not something you see often in a book.
I've read 4 tabletop books that are dedicated to just playing like sex.
The closest I've had was a more or less joke book I saw. I haven't had books that deal with sex in tabletop much before.
Example, back at the barracks. Alright, you finally make it back to the ship and lock yourselves in. You can rest now if you want.
I got 12 stress, so the body's going to rest.
My boy.
My boy is going to rest. He can't go on like this.
No problem. The barracks is pretty Spartan, but not too bad, so just roll whatever your worst save is.
Cleo, you have psychology, right? Any chance you'd be willing to, talk to my guy and calm him down a bit?
I've only got 3 stress, so I'm down. If you're willing to give up your rest, I'll give Nox advantage on his rest save. Let's do it. Perfect. So you're, venting about all this to Cleo, and Cleo, you're just talking him through it? Getting him not to spiral, yeah? Okay, go ahead and roll.
My worst save is sanity at 14, so I get a 22 and a 56. That would be a crit fail, but with advantage, it's just a normal fail.
Jesus, that would have been bad. So yeah, sounds like talking it out actually made it worse. Gain 1 stress. I just texted people while he talked. Stress, damage, and emotional wear and tear eventually brings characters to their breaking point. When that happens, there's a chance they panic. You determine this by making a panic check. Panic check determines whether the character can keep their cool under extreme pressure. Roll the panic die, which is just a d20, and attempt to roll greater than your current stress. If you roll less than or equal to your current stress, you fail, and you look up your result on the panic table. Alrighty. When to make them. You must make a panic check anytime you roll a crit fail on a stat check or save. Additionally, the warden may call for a panic check at any other appropriate time, including, but not limited to, watching another crew member die, witnessing more than one crew member panic at the same time. Whenever your ship rolls a critical failure, everyone on board makes a panic check. Yeah. Encountering a strange and horrifying entity for the first time. When all hope is lost and death feels certain, and whenever you, the player, want.
I do like that last bullet point, because sometimes I'm like, I want to see if my character's having a bad time right now.
Yeah.
So having that be encouraged is nice.
Alright, and these panic effects, if you roll less than or equal to your current stress, you fail and you get your result on the panic table. So you have to have a lower panic than what you roll here. Mm-hmm. So if my panic was at 7, I would have to roll an 8 or up. Mm-hmm. But I can experience 1 through 7. If I roll any of them, then I fail and I get that result.
I like the table going up like that because it makes the higher level, the higher results have greater effects either in a good or bad way.
Yeah. For example, here though, adrenaline rush, which is a panic result of 1, gives you advantage on all rolls for 2d10 minutes and reduces stress by 1d5. That's very good. And then 20, you just retire. Your character's gone.
Your character's like, I'm done with this. Bye, and just leaves.
Conditions. Some results of the panic table are so severe that they leave a lasting impression on you. These are called conditions, and they affect you until you are able to treat them. Panic checks and agency. Be sure to go over the panic table and remove any results that don't fit with your group. Remember, role-playing panic is not an excuse to make someone else uncomfortable. As usual, check in regularly. So, if someone is uncomfortable about, playing out rage, then you can replace that. Skills represent the accumulated knowledge, craft techniques, and training a character possesses in a certain field. Whenever you make a stat check or a save and you have a relevant skill, you add your skill bonus to your save, giving you a higher number to roll under. Each class starts with a few, and you can acquire more through long-term study and rigorous skill training. No skill Just because you don't have a skill doesn't mean you don't know anything about the subject, and it usually doesn't mean you can't at least make an attempt. What it means is you don't have the significant enough expertise or experience in the matter to act decisively in high-pressure situations. Therefore, you get no bonus, and depending on how complex the task is, you might roll with disadvantage or not be able to attempt it at all. But by default, you're on a spaceship, you probably know a lot of spaceship stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm going to read the example here first. Outrunning the meteorite. So you're walking across the underbelly of the ship in your vac suit. You got mag boots?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You hear the static in your comms and see a flare out of the corner of your eye.
We got a problem out here. Are you guys seeing anything?
Are we seeing anything? Your scanners start blaring and you get a warning of a meteor shower impacting in 10 seconds.
Shit, I'm running.
You're in mag boots, so it's slow going, especially in the vac suit. You can make a speed check at disadvantage.
I got DOG, would that help?
Absolutely. You can add 10 to your stat.
My speed is 36, plus 10 is 46, I roll a 54 and a 77. Fuck, critical failure.
Train skills. You receive standard training in this area equivalent to a bachelor's degree or on-the-job training for a couple years. You know what? Go for it. I kind of liked before that they didn't have descriptions on the table, and I think I'm not going to read these super closely for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Expert skills. You've received the equivalent of a doctorate or have many years of experience in this field. Expert skills should generally be a subset or specific focus of a trained skill. Yeah, subset or specific this is what I noticed earlier, where it's like a higher tier skill is never going to cover something that the base one doesn't. Master skills. You're advanced in your field and are aware of cutting-edge techniques or highly specialized niche information. Do their focus master skills apply very narrowly compared to the broader trained skills. Train a skill. To learn a new skill, you need to spend the requisite amount of time and credits. Trained skills take 2 years and 10,000 credits. Experts take 4 and 50,000, and masters take 6 years and 200,000. They could have said 2 million, but you know.
Yeah.
To train an expert skill requires 1 trained skill prerequisite, and to train a master skill requires 1 expert skill prerequisite. So you just need to have 1 connecting dot. Okay. Why does it take so long? Skill training assumes characters are working full-time, going on missions, and generally living life. If studying full-time, e.g. by going to school, then training takes half as long. Your warden may allow additional resources like private tutoring, AI assistance, cybermods, slickware, etc. to decrease the time required. Aw, man.
He looks miserable.
Buddy.
He does not want to be there. That's Nox, actually, in my head now.
I don't think I really need to go over the skill training example here.
Nah.
Military training is a special exception to the regular rules of skill training for 2 reasons. First, it is free. Second, characters must sign a 6-year contract with the local colonial marine regiment. To find out what happened during their service, make a combat check. On a success, gain military training, athletics, and 2 trained skills. Gain plus 10 combat and reduce another stat by 10. Gain the Marine's trauma response. Critical success as success, but you may take an expert still instead of 2 trained. Failure gives you military training, athletics, and 1 trained skill and the Marine's trauma response. And critical failure, you were killed in action. Violent encounters. Violence in Mothership is incredibly dangerous and should be avoided at all costs. When all else fails, this is how to resolve the encounter. Turn order. During a violent confrontation, time is split into roughly 10-second rounds. Everything within a round happens at basically the same time. The warden describes the situation and what is likely to happen if there is no response. Then play goes around the table and each player describes how their characters react. As usual, feel free to ask questions, and the warden answers and explains the likely consequences of failure. Once you understand the stakes and what you want to do, you commit to a course of action, either individually or as a group. Once everyone has done this, the warden resolves everyone's actions at once, assigning any necessary skill checks or saves, then everyone who has to rolls. After any stat checks and saves are rolled, if anyone's taking damage or a wound, those are rolled. Finally, the warden describes the new situation, and a new round starts. This repeats until the encounter is resolved. So this is older, it's OSR style, where it's kind of like, here's what's happening, respond to it. It's like the TTRPG equivalent of Yomi Hustle. You see what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And you react to it, and then the GM plays out the time.
I love how very specifically that applies to like people that have played Yomi Hustle and me.
Uh-huh.
And like other people are like, no, that's how stuff goes.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Surprise! If there's a chance the characters are ambushed or stunned by a horrific encounter, the warden calls for a fear save. Those who succeed are able to react. Those who fail are too shocked until the next round. I like that this is not just like everyone loses a turn like it is in a lot of games. This is make a fear save and you can still act if you succeed.
Yeah.
Strict turn order. Some groups prefer a strict turn order. If this is the case, we recommend everyone make a speed check. Those who succeed go before enemy hostiles. Those who fail go after. If the situation changes dramatically, speed checks can be called for again, like if new hostiles enter. I like that as a variant, but I would want to try the simultaneous thing first, specifically just trying to like use what they're giving me here, use their intended design.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Example, the thing that was Phil. Okay, so the thing that used to be Phil is galloping down the corridor. His mouth is unzipping down his chest into one giant maw. Cleo, it's reaching out to grab you and Nox, and unimpeded, it's going to crash right into you. What are y'all doing? And I'm going to let you voice both now.
Alright. I'm going to stand my ground and unload onto this guy. Sorry, Phil. It was my fault. I shouldn't have opened the door.
That's what's happening here, by the way. Cleo, make a combat check. There's a lot of pipes here, so you might take some blowback damage if you fail.
That's fine. I hate this ship anyway. Can I add my military training?
Definitely. Phil, I think it's safe to say you can roll up another character or play one of the Marines you hired at the last port.
Oh yeah, I'll play Sipil.
Corporal.
Corporal. Oh. Corporal Davis. I liked her.
Perfect. She's still on the bridge, but if she heads this way, she can be here next round. Nox, what about you?
I think I'm gonna try and get some cover. I want to be out of the being formerly known as Phil's way.
Phil is running pretty fast, so that'll be a speed check. Failure means it'll get you. Does all this sound good to everyone?
My body is ready.
Okay, sweet. Let's roll.
Fail, fail, fail.
Nope, that says...
y'all.
Y'all? Okay, so Cleo, you fire, but the creature is moving too fast. You hit the pipes embedded in the bulkhead, and they spray steam right into your eyes. Take 4 damage.
Damn it.
Nox, the Phil thing snatches you up and its claws just tear through you. You take 14 damage.
That's a wound for sure.
Alright, Corporal Davis, you arrive and you're seeing this carnage. Your former character is about to devour Nox alive. What's everyone doing? Oh, and Nox, let's roll up that wound.
Wonderful.
What can I do? Characters can generally move somewhere within close range and then do one thing before the situation changes. Think of the situation like a real-life scenario. Think about what you would do in these circumstances, then describe that to the warden. If you can't accomplish everything you want to do in one round, or your choices are especially foolhardy or dangerous, the warden will do their best to let you know and explain the risks involved. Here's a non-exhaustive list of the kinds of things you could attempt in a round. Attack something or someone, bandage a wound to try and stop the bleeding, check vital signs with a med scanner, move again, fire a vehicle's weapon, maneuver or pilot a vehicle, open an airlock, operate a machine, reload a weapon, throw something at or to someone, use a computer terminal to search a directory, engage automatic airlocks, send distress signals, cycle through CCTV cameras, disable life support, etc. Occasionally, if you decide to do nothing other than run, you can move somewhere within long range during the round. Being effective in a fight, your combat stat isn't the only thing that matters when it comes to fighting for your life. Distract enemies while your fellow crew members take aim. Study the creature's movement to see if you can spot a pattern or weakness. Bandage bleeding wounds. Run away. Always a good idea. Hide. In short, treat every round like a completely unique situation, and try not to look at your character sheet too much. Outsmart, outrun, and outlast your enemy. That's all that matters. How do I attack? Make a combat check. If successful, roll the weapon's damage and subtract it from the enemy's health. If you fail, the situation gets worse and you gain 1 stress. Damage. When taking damage, subtract it from health. If your health reaches 0, gain a wound and roll on the wounds table. Then reset the character's health to its maximum and subtract any carryover damage. Once your character suffers their maximum wounds, make a death save. Armor. Characters ignore all damage less than their armor's armor points, AP. However, if they ever take damage greater than or equal to their AP in one hit, their armor is destroyed and they suffer any remaining damage. Weapons with anti-armor ignore and destroy armor whenever they hit. Some armor may have damage reduction, which always reduces incoming damage by the amount stated, even if the armor is destroyed or if the weapon has anti-armor. Damage reduction occurs first, before any armor.
That's cool.
Cover. The environment can provide protection called cover. It can be destroyed just like armor whenever it is dealt damage greater than or equal to its AP. Cover typically only protects against ranged attacks, but in some situations may help block a hand-to-hand attack. If you shoot while in cover, you are considered out of cover until your next turn. So, insignificant cover like wood furniture or doors, body shields, etc., things that wouldn't do much realistically, has 5 AP. Light cover like a tree, a bulkhead wall, metal furniture is 10. And heavy cover is an airlock door, cement beams, ships, etc. Has a reduction of 5 and an armor of 20. So you need to deal 25 damage to break it. Mm-hmm. What are wounds? When getting a wound, roll 1d10 on the wounds table according to type of damage. Blunt force is when you're getting bludgeoned. Bleeding is when you're stabbed or cut, not when you're actually bleeding, I guess. Something that would... Well, no, because a blunt force also makes you bleed. I don't know. Cutting. Gunshot is getting shot by a firearm. Fire and explosives is fire and explosives. Gore and massive is gigantic or gruesome attacks. Use the severity column and common sense as a guide. Flesh wounds are small inconveniences. Minor or major injuries cause lasting issues which require medical treatment. Lethal injuries can kill you if not dealt with immediately. Fatal injuries can kill outright. And bleeding wounds, if not treated, can quickly overwhelm you. Some attacks deal wounds directly, bypassing armor or damage reduction. I want to take a look at that. So yeah. So you take damage. It does your health fully. That hits 0 and you roll on the wounds table, a 1d10. Let's say you're getting shot and yeah, and then the d10 will tell you how bad it is. So you roll a 5. That's a major injury. It's a lodged bullet. You need surgery. Or equivalent to that at 6, also a major injury would be a gunshot wound to the neck.
Holy moly.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Some of these can make you bleed. Some of these just straight up do a death save.
Unless there's a good reason, I don't like there being bleeding wounds and having a bleeding effect. That doesn't seem good.
It conflates terms, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Death. If your death seems imminent, make your last moments count. Save someone's life, solve an important mystery, give the others time to escape. When you die, the warden makes a death save by placing 1d10 in a cup, shaking the cup, and placing it face down on the table, covering the die. As soon as someone spends a turn checking your vitals, the die is revealed and the roll is looked up on the death table below. Use common sense. So if it's a 0, if it's just a 0, you are unconscious, you wake up in 2d10 minutes, reduce your max health by 1d5. If it's 1 or a 2, you're unconscious and dying, you die in 1d5 rounds without intervention. On a 3 or 4, you are comatose, only extraordinary measures can return you to the waking world. And on a 5 to 9, you have died. This was another thing that I saw in the review that got me interested in this was whenever you make a death save, it's hidden until someone spends a round checking your vitals.
I like that a lot.
And so I assume specifically here this is common sense is meaning if it takes someone however many rounds to check, then you're already dead.
Mm-hmm.
Range and distance. Well, that's some art.
They're not having a good time.
Range, distance, and movement are tracked abstractly in range bands. These are adjacent, close range, long range, and extreme range. Describing distance should be done in human casual terms. What's important is whether someone can touch you, whether they can get to you, whether you can shoot them, or whether you can't. It can touch you. Adjacent. You're basically touching. This covers fistfights, close quarters combat, and trying to get out of the grips of a hideous terror's claws. More than that, it covers things like using a computer terminal or administering first aid to someone. You can talk comfortably, whisper, and even smell someone at this range. Example, runaway. Alright, so the airlock door breaks down and more of these fills start swarming the base.
I'm running, just pure running, non-stop. I'm gonna lob a grenade before running.
It's within close range. You're throwing it or just dropping it?
Just dropping.
In that case, it makes sense to give them an instinct save to avoid. Right, and it also has some range guidelines on the bottom here, where adjacent would be less than a meter. It can get to you. Close range. Someone close can be reached by running over to them in a few seconds, roughly 5 to 10 meters. They're near enough that you could likely throw something at them and hit them. You'd have to speak loud enough that someone on the other side of the room could hear you. Powerful stenches can be smelled if they're close. Firearms like shotguns are most effective at this range or adjacent. You can shoot it. Long range. Things in this band are far enough away that they take an entire round or longer to get to. Rifles are effective at this range, but handguns and shotguns less so. You'd have to yell at someone to get their attention, and you probably won't smell anyone at long range, no matter how bad they stink, roughly to 20 to 100 meters. Finally, you can hear them scream. Extreme range. Only the longest range weapons, like smart rifles, can hit something accurately in this band. It takes more than one turn to get to something here, and even if you hear a scream, you might not know which direction it's coming from. Over 100 meters. Below are some of the most common afflictions characters may encounter while exploring space. Atmospheres. Planets with toxic or corrosive atmospheres require special gear to explore. Otherwise, you may take harm or death. So a toxic atmosphere requires a rebreather or armor with its own oxygen supply. Otherwise, you take 1d10 damage per round, body save for half. Corrosive atmosphere deals damage every round while in it, from 1 per round to 10 per round. Anything higher is impossible to traverse without specialized equipment and armor. Bleeding. Some weapons or wounds cause characters to bleed. This means they take 1 damage every round until the bleeding is stopped. This is cumulative. If you're bleeding 1 damage and gain bleeding +1, you now take 2. It ignores armor and damage reduction. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of wounds being able to be bleeding. This should be like slashing.
Yeah.
Blunt force, cutting, gunshot, fire and explosives, gore, and massive. And then cutting can make you bleed, and gunshot can make you bleed.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Because, like, obviously it's blunt force, slashing, and piercing. But they use gunshot because it makes sense for the system.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Well, no, bleeding counts for stabbed. Gunshot is specifically getting shot.
Okay, so, like, yeah.
But this should still be, like, piercing.
Or punctured.
Punctured. Something that isn't bleeding.
I think punctured is better in this instance, since you're trying to cover both slashing and piercing in this instance.
Yeah. Cryosickness. Cryosickness makes you sick when you wake up. You suffer disadvantage on all rolls for a week. Better cryo chambers in a stim pack can help out. Exhaustion. Track exhaustion by making a body save. Every 12 hours of activity. On a failure, gain a stress and take a damage. After 24 hours of it, roll a disadvantage on all rolls until they can rest. Food and water. 3 weeks without food, but after 24 hours, you roll disadvantage to all rolls. You need a liter of water per day, and strenuous activity forces you to make a body save or pass out. When water is scarce and you're tracking it this closely, you're at disadvantage on all rolls. Oxygen. In space, you can last 15 seconds without oxygen, and then you pass out and you survive 1d5 minutes before dying. If all of a ship's life support systems go offline, roll d10 multiplied by maximum crew. This is the remaining oxygen supply. Every 24 hours, you subtract the number of breathing crew members from remaining supply. If they're in strenuous activity, they go by 2 each extra, so 3 total. Whenever the oxygen supply is less than twice the amount of breathing passengers, all rolls are at disadvantage as they start suffering headaches, fatigue, anxiety, and clumsiness. Whenever it's less than the amount of passengers, breathing passengers must make a body save or else make a death save as they suffer panting, dizziness, etc. Once the oxygen supply runs out, it's the same as outer space, 15 seconds and then 1d5 minutes. Androids do not consume oxygen. Those in cryosleep do not consume oxygen. Whether it's cosmic rays, an engine leak, or some previously undiscovered asteroid or radiation can kill you if you're not careful. Possible long-term side effects for trace: reduce all stats and saves by 1 every round for acute, and every round make a body save or take a lethal dose, death in 1d5 days for lethal.
Oh, goodness.
Armor with radiation shielding blocks all 3 levels. Stim packs can overdose you if you take more than 1 day. Roll d10 if you roll under the amount of doses taken in the past 24 hours. So it'll be 1 when you take your second, 2 when you make your third. Make a death save. Temperature. In most cases, a hot climate or cold climate has no notable flex. However, if it's extreme, make body checks every hour or succumb. Short-term recovery. Medical care. No matter how careful you are, sooner or later you are going to get hurt. Minor injuries can usually be treated with a quick rest, but wounds and conditions require professional treatment. Short-term recovery. Once per day, whenever resting, a character's body attempts to heal itself naturally. After 6 hours of rest or more, make a body save. If successful, health goes back to max. Wounds remain the same. Long-term recovery.
Just a casual surgery, you know?
Yeah. Long-term recovery. Recovering wounds, conditions, or losses to stats and saves take a longer time. See medical expenses for a non-comprehensive list of available treatments. So yeah, you can restore sanity save by going to therapy. But there's a 1% chance you gain a random condition. You can get med pod. Spend a week in the pod to restore a wound, but it doesn't bring back limbs or digits, etc. Wow. Example of play, which we're gonna skim over here. Port classes. When characters are in need of a place to repair, refuel, and catch a little R&R, they need to dock at the nearest port. When in port, you can buy and sell equipment, look for work, buy a ticket or charter a vehicle, and take some much-needed shore leave. There are 5 basic classes of port based on safety, importance, and affluence. X-class, C-class, B-class, A-class, and S-class. And it goes from notorious criminal settlements to luxurious pleasure spas. While they're generally locations capable of docking a ship, they can be used to designate planet-side cities or even districts or neighborhoods for the purposes of shore leave. Shore leave itself being you pay a cost depending on the port you're in. Make a sanity save as you process stress into something useful. On a success, convert some of the stress into improved saves. Each port converts a different amount of stress as shown in the table. Whatever stress you don't convert is relieved, and you're set back to your minimum. So, in an X class, you convert 2d10 stress with advantage.
But it does have quite a cost.
Yeah. Whereas the cheapest one here, the C class, only recovers 1d5. Or, well, converts. On a crit, you convert the maximum amount of stress allowed at that port and relieve the remainder. Failure doesn't convert any stress, but relieves all of it. Then you gain 1 stress for failing the sanity save. On a crit fail, you do not convert or relieve any stress, and you make a panic check. Me checking into the spa, gonna have a panic attack. Convert stress into saves. For every point of stress you convert, you can improve any save by 1. You can divide these improvements up however you want. How long is shore leave? Anywhere between a long weekend and 2-week vacations. Roughly 2d10 days to benefit from shore leave. Any less, you may incur penalties. And it can be as detailed or abstract as you prefer. You can play out the entire time, or you can just roll and head out. Groups that like a little buffer between horrific adventures might appreciate the break with some slice-of-life sessions.
Honestly, for me, I think for a horror game, having the slice of life sessions would be nice. Even if it's something as simple as you play in physical space and online there is roleplay channels, you know? Like, I feel like something like that for this type of campaign would go pretty well to help build an immersiveness to the characters.
Yeah, for sure.
It could
also... then you can flesh them out so that they can die after 3 bad rolls next session.
I mean, hey, it's better than just die immediately in the session, you know? It's like, no, Jim died!
Sees the alien for the first time, crit fails the runaway check, instantly gets wounded, rolls a 10 on the wound, fails the death save.
You know, just casualness.
At most ports throughout the Rim, you can find broken, hungry freelancers, hitchhikers, pioneers, and mercenaries, all looking for work or a ride to the next system. If you find your crew light and you need extra hands to fulfill a mission or staff a ship, you may want to hire a contractor. Be careful, though, since many of them can be cutthroat and disloyal, leaving characters to die when you need them most. They are much simpler characters than the ones you play and have only 4 stats. Combat, which is just combat. Instinct, which is a catch-all for fear, sanity, body, speed, intellect, and everything else. Max wounds, which is they don't track health, instead any damage they take counts as a wound. If they take wounds equal to their maximum wounds, they die. Loyalty is a save and is rolled whenever the contractor needs to make a decision between what's best for them and what's best for you. On a success, they help. On a fail, they help themselves. Each contractor starts with a loyalty save of 2d10 plus 10, rolled after they're hired. And motivation, which always supersedes any sense of loyalty to the crew they may have. You don't need to roll up a motivation for every contractor, just notable ones. I really like that.
I like the motivation. I do wish the loyalty saved was rolled secretly beforehand and the players could scout out who is potentially loyal. Because I think the idea that, like, oh, this guy seems like he's very much, you know, a golden retriever kind of person, you know?
I think that would be probably pushing the system to be too complex, because then it would be like, oh, I'm gonna spec my character into making sure that we don't get any disloyal people, and now that entire avenue of storytelling where it's like, oh shit, you got betrayed, never comes up.
I guess so.
Simplified stats make them easier to track. They're generally weaker than your characters and don't last long, so be sure to protect them. They're paid a monthly salary at the beginning of every month, and they usually demand hazard pay, which is 1d5 months of extra pay anytime they engage in life-threatening danger as a result of the job. Non-payment or partial payment results in a loyalty save with disadvantage. Finally, contractors always indicate a beneficiary who seek any payments owed to them in the event of their death. And I like how they're having links to, they had one earlier for the Shipbreakers manual, which is like spaceship rules. This one's Warden's Operations, which is the GM book.
Yeah,
good stuff. They got some examples here of various contractors. I like as well that they went up here. They said, looking for a ride to the next system, where like you could bring someone on temporarily as a doctor. Maybe a little cheaper even than a doctor. But they're trying to get somewhere. Improving loyalty. Contractors who survive a job and are paid in full increase their loyalty by 1. Increases of 1d5 or 1d10 should be reserved for extreme circumstances like saving their life or splitting large paydays with them. Motivation. Not all contractors need one, but those who do always fail loyalty saves when the two come in conflict. Equipping contractors. They generally have the basic tools, weapons, and armor required to do their job. If necessary, you can roll a loadout for them to see what they have. Who controls them? They should generally be controlled by the player who hired them, or by any player who doesn't have a character present in the scene currently. I like that. This helps keep everyone engaged. This is what I was talking about earlier with troop play, where I think there should be backup characters that are present or like easy to bring in. And this is the same thing here. Replacement characters. Contractors make great replacement characters if and when your character dies or becomes otherwise incapacitated or unusable. Simply roll up their stats as normal, dropping instinct and re-rolling combat. They may have lower stats than they originally had, but this is okay, because they'll also have skills now to help make up the difference. And then it has a proper character sheet and a little quick reference of how things function.
And
bada bing.
That's it. It's a nice 44-page book. I like how everything is like listed where you can find out more about it. It wasn't just in that first page that we were talking about that had it.
Yeah.
I like how that's a thing that's just, it keeps doing. It keeps saying, you want to read more about it? Go here. And I like how non-intrusive that is. Instead of like being in the text, it's just a separate thing said in a small space, still not realistically taking any page space to say so.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not like that space is used anyway. You need blank space between paragraphs, so might as well add something right above it or right below it. And I really like that. I think that is really good design-wise. That is just something that's always used. And it's even better in like a digital format where you can just click it and go immediately to it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I really enjoyed this. So now I can kind of come back here and look at the weapons and damage and kind of understand them.
Yeah.
For example, I was looking at the laser cutter earlier. So you roll your combat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you roll below your combat stat, then you deal 1d100 damage to what you're firing at. And if that wounds it, then you can either roll bleeding or gore with advantage for the wound.
Yeah.
With advantage.
Because you got a giant laser.
Because you're kind of just cutting them in half. But it's two-handed, it's heavy, it has a 1-round recharge between shots.
And I like...
So, like, the heavy and the two-handed bit means, like, you can't have anything else, and maybe you'll have, like, disadvantage if the thing is fast at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this. This seems very interesting. I look forward to whenever we play it, hopefully at some point.
Yeah.
This looks very fun and interesting.
But yeah, it's like a sort of bringing everything all around back together. I think my final thoughts is that this is a really good example of how you can do a lot with very little, I think, in design. It's 44 pages, it's very tight, and it's very minimal, but everything it's doing is very, like, focused and grounded. It's not the type of game, because one of the issues that I have with, for example, like, His Majesty the Worm, is that there are some very common things that it doesn't provide, I feel, adequate enough rules for. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, like, swimming is something that, in my experience, comes up pretty often in fantasy role-playing games and OSR games, but it doesn't provide any proper rules for them. The closest you can make is like, oh, make a swords test of fate or else you die.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not cool, and like the best I can do is maybe like you're wearing heavy armor, you get disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
There it's called disfavor. But it's just like it, you know. Whereas with this one, everything's kind of folded into this same roll a number, get under system, and then you as the GM get to toss on advantage and disadvantage to shape the story. And people can have their stats for extra bonuses for their specializations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of leaves this clean, like, even though everything is very samey in how you resolve it, because you're not meant to be paying attention to the character sheet, that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And then it means that anything you come upon, you're going to have an answer for. Like, oh, what do you do if there's water here, like in Mothership? What if like this one room floods and the alien's coming for you? Well, you roll speed. It's
yeah.
You make a speed check, and like if you have athletics, you get that bonus there because it's swimming. And it's like the, you know, maybe wilderness survival. I think that would work for swimming, like, as well.
Further specialization, you could roll either or, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you have military training, it makes sense that you could do wilderness survival instead of being properly trained in athletics, even though if you get the military training, you get athletics as like a base thing anyway.
Well, that was just for the Marine.
And it looks like I guess you can select it as its own thing. Yeah. Okay.
You could go and get training in just military stuff without being trained in athletics.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I like this. I think it is probably going to be very easy to run and very easy to play.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely takes some getting used to, as a narrative game does, but I'm excited for it. I look forward to it. I like that it will hopefully teach me some things, and will give me some ideas of like things that I can then use in other games.
Yeah, no, this is also something I'm interested in potentially running, since how low effort it seems to make a session or do something with it, which is very good to me as someone who cannot provide much energy into it a lot of times, but can improv decently well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those were all of my thoughts for this. I greatly enjoy this this book, the design methods for it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to potentially getting hands-on experience for it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. And now it's been a dang long while since I uploaded a video. So, I'm just gonna read out all of the coffee supporters that I've had since my last video. It premiered on the 23rd of April, which is...
Goodness, it has been a while.
Oh man, 3 months ago. 23rd of April, so every donator since then. By the way, thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you would like to see more. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment if you have any thoughts. It helps out the channel. It helps out me. Thank you so much for watching. Now, into the coffee supporters. We have Max Magnus 20,019 donating at the few bucks support tier, as will everyone I list going forwards unless I specify otherwise. We also have Taran Phoenix FH, Kizo, Max Magnus 20,019 again, Taran again, Phoenix FH again, Kizo again, Max Magnus 20,019 again, and Taran again. Thank you all so much for sticking through this period with me. It's been hard, but I'm looking to try and get more things out. I have a couple of things lined up in the coming weeks here. I'm on several projects, most of which are Pathfinder involved, so look out for those. It'll be at least, I believe, 2 homebrew projects are guaranteed to come out, and it might be some more as well, and I'll be doing some reviews on some other things alongside that. Thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. If you want to say goodbye.
See ya.
Well, say your goodbye.
Wait,
I'm gonna do my thing.
You're gonna do your thing?
Yes.
I was gonna steal your thing.
No, it's my thing.
It's your thing?
Say goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.
See ya. See ya.